Every year around this time, we hear all about Medicare's annual fall election period, but many people aren't too sure exactly what they should be doing this time of year. Sound familiar? Hi there, if we haven't met yet, I'm Danielle Roberts, Medicare expert here at Boomer Benefits. In this video, I'll be discussing how you can prepare for the Medicare Annual Election Period. We'll cover what the annual election period is for and, importantly, also what it's not for. We'll also talk about what things you need to do every year during this period to make sure that you are always in the most cost-effective coverage for you. The Medicare Annual Election Period runs every fall from October 15th to December 7th and is a time when beneficiaries like you can enroll and change or disenroll from your current Part D drug plan or Medicare Advantage plan. Here's a screenshot of the changes that you can make. You can change from one Part D plan to another, or you can drop Part D coverage altogether. You can change from one Medicare Advantage plan to another. You can leave a Medicare Advantage plan to go back to original Medicare. Finally, you can switch from original Medicare into a Medicare Advantage plan. The reason the annual election period is a very important time of year for you is that if you have a standalone Part D drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, your current plan is changing its benefits for next year. Now, here's why. Medicare can and does change the limits on Medicare Parts A, B, and D every year. It will often increase your Part A and B and D deductibles and may also increase or change the copays or coinsurance that you pay at the time of healthcare service under these parts. And when it comes to your Part D drug coverage, Medicare can also change the point at which you reach the coverage gap or donut hole, as well as when you exit the gap and the catastrophic level of drug coverage kicks in. Since Medicare is making all of these changes to the limits for next year, it must allow the Part D and Medicare Advantage insurance companies to adjust and change their benefits for those plans next year as well. The insurance company can change the monthly premium that you pay for your plan. It can change the copay for each medication and the tiers into which those medications fall on your formulary. They can add or drop medications from the drug formulary itself. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, they can also update their network of doctors and pharmacies. They can change your copays for all sorts of medical services that you get through that Medicare Advantage plan. Now, Medicare doesn't want the insurance companies to surprise you with these changes in January. So instead, they require the plan to notify you of the upcoming changes in September. This gives you the time to review the changes to your current plan and decide whether you wish to keep that plan with the changes for next year or whether you prefer to shop for a different plan for next year during the upcoming fall annual election period. So now that you understand why the election period exists, I want to share some tips about what you should be doing every year during this time. First, you want to carefully review the annual notice of change letter that you will receive sometime in September. Usually this letter will come by postal mail, but if you indicated on your plan's application that you wish to receive it electronically, it will come via email. If that's the case, be sure to look carefully for it and don't accidentally delete it. Every year we get calls from people in January that deleted that email or never saw it because it went into their spam folder, and by then it's too late to make changes to the standalone drug plan. Now, here's what to look for in the annual notice of change letter itself. The letter notifies you of all the changes that will be happening for next year on your current plan. Your insurance company will list the benefits for the current year right alongside the benefits for the next year so that you can see exactly what is changing. In my opinion, the most important thing to look for is whether the plan is dropping one of your current medications from its formulary next year. That's information that you need to know now in September so that you can consider using the annual election period beginning in October to change to a different drug plan that will cover your medication next year. It's a very unwelcome surprise in January when you didn't review your letter and you go to pick up your medication at the pharmacy and you find out that your insurance no longer covers it. At that point, again, it's too late to change your drug plan and you have to wait until the next fall annual election period to choose a different plan. This, of course, leaves you paying out of pocket for that medication all year long or going back to your doctor to see if he can switch you to a medication that is still on the formulary of your current plan. Other changes to look for and consider in your annual notice are increases in the premium for the plan and increases in copays for specific medications that you're taking. For Medicare Advantage plans, look for any changes to your pharmacy's network, your plan's deductible if there is one, and changes to your copays for specific healthcare services that you tend to use more than other healthcare services. Now, let's say that you don't like the changes to your current plan and you decide to shop around and find a new plan for next year. To shop your Part D drug plan, you can log into your mymedicare.gov portal. Here, you can enter and save your list of medications and then sort to find which drug plans will be the most cost-effective for you the next year. The plans in the portal will have a button which you can click on as early as October 15th to easily enroll in a new Part D drug plan for next year. If, however, you are wanting to shop for a new Medicare Advantage plan, you should call us here at Boomer Benefits for help with that. Changing your Medicare Advantage plan is a bit more complicated, as you'll need to find out which new plans your doctors participate in before you make that kind of switch. My team can make that process very easy for you, and our service here is free as well. Now, before we wrap up, I want to discuss what the Medicare Annual Election Period is not for, because we get asked this question many times every year. The annual election period is not for changing your Medigap plan. The annual election period has nothing to do with a Medigap plan. So if you have original Medicare and a Medigap plan and a Part D drug plan, you can use the election period to change your standalone Part D drug plan. However, the election period does not affect your Medigap plan in any way. The reason that the fall annual election period doesn't apply to Medigap plans is because Medigap plans do not change their benefits from year to year like Advantage plans or drug plans do. So since your benefits on your Medigap plan don't change, there's no need for an election period to change your plan. And let me explain why this is really important. If Medigap plans do not have election periods, you can apply for them at any time of year. You're definitely not limited to making changes during this small window of time in the fall. Most of the time, people don't change their Medigap plan unless they have recently received a rate increase letter, and that usually comes upon the policy's anniversary, not during the Part D annual election period. However, many people mistakenly believe that they can use the fall annual election period to sign up for a Medigap plan and think that they won't have to answer any health questions when they do that. And this is definitely not true. Changing from one Medigap plan to another Medigap plan will require you in most states to answer health questions and go through medical underwriting, no matter what time of year you're trying to make the switch. Your application can be declined if you have health conditions that the new Medigap carrier does not want to cover. Keep this in mind if you've been on a Medicare Advantage plan for a few years and now you want to return to original Medicare and pick up a Medigap plan. While you can certainly use the annual election period to disenroll from your Medicare Advantage plan and get back to original Medicare, you cannot in most states use it as a free pass into any Medigap plan that you want. This could be a disaster if you didn't know this and you dropped your Medicare Advantage plan before you got a denial letter by the Medigap company you applied with. Now you just have original Medicare and the election period may be over or almost over. It's very important that if you're wanting to leave a Medicare Advantage plan and get a Medigap plan instead, that you do not drop your Medicare Advantage plan until you get approval from the Medigap plan first. This means you need to start this whole process early in the annual election period so that you don't run out of time when December 7th rolls around. As you can see, changes during the annual election period can be rather tricky, and the order of events really matters in some situations. These are the kinds of sticky situations that I warn you about in my new book, 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes You Can't Afford to Make, which is available for order right now on Amazon. Be sure to get your copy today. And of course, if you would rather not do all of this alone, consider reaching out to us here at Boomer Benefits. We help our Medigap and Medicare Advantage policyholders with this review process and any plan changes that they want to make every year at any time of year, and that service is free of charge. You'll also get the benefit of having our legendary client service team available to help you year-round with benefit questions, claims, problems, appeals, pharmacy exceptions, so that you're never alone in dealing with Medicare. If you want to learn more about Medicare Part D drug plans and why you might want to have one, check out this video next.